We are 9 months into 2020. It is October 3rd today. How much money did you make in the first 9 months of this year?
Mark, I made 100,000. I just hit my 100,000 this week, so super excited about that. You can do it. If I did it, I think anybody can do it. You just have to put in the work, and it'll be there for you. You just have to take that journey.
Another episode of On the Road with the Loan Signing System. Here with signing agent Kriss out in Las Vegas, Nevada. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing well, Mark. How about yourself?
Oh, man, I can't be more excited about sharing your story. We are 9 months into 2020. It is October 3rd today. How much money did you make in the first 9 months of this year?
Mark, I made 100,000. I just hit my 100,000 this week, so super excited about that.
You just made $100,000 as a loan signing agent within 9 months. Are you kidding? How does that feel, man?
It's pretty amazing, a bit surreal. It's just amazing to be on this journey.
Let's just get something out of the way. There are some people out there who say there is no way you can make six figures as a signing agent. What would you say to them?
You can do it. If I did it, I think anybody can do it. You just have to put in the work, and it'll be there for you. You just have to take that journey.
I love it, man. I love it. I mean, there's some people go, Mark, because we have a six-figure signing agent course. I'll get emails, oh, Mark, do people really make six figures? I'm like, yes, people make six figures. And you just made $100,000 in 9 months. What is your projected revenue for the entire year?
I should do about 130 to 140,000 this year. Yeah.
And would that be the most money you've ever made, man?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, incredible. No, the best part about your story, in my opinion, what I think is inspiring outside of the numbers is your entire journey. This is not something that happened overnight. You're in year number 2. I can't wait to tell people your first year journey. So, I need to think, that I love the phrase, slow is a speed. And your journey is a classic example of just slow speed, consistency, persistency, and just seeing something till the end, man. So I'm so happy for you. Speaking of which, real quick, how much money did you make last month in 1 month?
Last month I did a shade under 12,000 last month.
$1,000 in 1 month. Like, when you say that out loud, man, how does that feel again?
It's pretty satisfying, especially thinking back to, when I was the 9 to 5, it's totally different. So.
Everyone's always curious, what does the day in the life of a six-figure signing agent look like? So walk somebody through just a quick day in the life of a six-figure signing agent. What time do you wake up? How many appointments are you doing? Because everyone's very curious. Okay, this guy makes six figures. What does that look like? So just walk us through a day, a week in the life of a six-figure signing agent.
Sure. When I started this business, I made it a habit to get up early. I think for me, being a morning person is very important. So wake up about 6:45, turn my phone on, because you never know who's going to call, because every day is different. But I think health is very important. I try to get a quick workout. Health as well. You can't spend it if you're not healthy. And then usually I'll have about 4, 5, 6 signings depending on the day. Just trying to be able to organize and coordinate those. And just working and I always try to make a goal. If I have less than a certain amount of signings scheduled, reach out to one direct or one signing service. Even if it's just one, do a little bit of marketing every day, because that's how you're going to grow your business. That call can get you so many more signings. So that's pretty much my day,
I love it. So what I heard, roughly 4, 5 to 6 signings every day, pretty consistently.
Yeah.
Okay, walk us through a day. So your first signing is what time do you think, more or less?
Usually I'd say probably 9 or 10. Sometimes you can get an 8, but that 9 or 10 spot is usually that first one. And then you might get like another one, and you'll get breaks in between. And it's all just about scheduling and logistics, just being able to, okay, I have an hour break here. Let me go get quick something to eat. Then I'll go to my next one, which may be 1 or 2. Continuing on, and just kind of I'm really big on efficiency and maximizing my time. If I'm in the car, I'm on the phone with business, or I'm listening to a podcast while I'm going to the next one, or I'm grabbing a bite to eat while listening to, a mentorship or another video. just always, if you're in the business mindset, just keep business. And for me, that's what's worked for me, just always keeping in that mindset, because you get home at night, and once you turn it off, it's hard to turn it back on. So just keeping that mindset.
Oh, I think that's beautiful, man. I think it's a beautiful piece of just a day in the life of a six-figure signing agent. Again, it's these interviews about digging into like the mindset and lifestyle. It is, if I'm not doing a signing, I'm either trying to market my business, I'm either feeding my brain with podcasts or the mentorship videos in the Facebook group, or I'm working. And then when I get home, I turn off the brain. But when I'm in between the lines, so you use a sports analogy, let's play ball. And it's everything to do with business. It's either podcasts, mentorships, marketing, or doing actual signings.
Yeah.
I think it's beautiful. You guys just saw the day in the life of a six-figure signing agent. That is work, marketing, or feeding the brain, baby. Let's go.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I love it. Okay. All right. Well, let's get this story started, because I'm going to not wait for people to hear kind of where you came from to where you are. So I think you've watched a few of these episodes, man.
Absolutely.
I start off every single one with the same question. Why did you become a signing agent? Take people through your journey.
Absolutely. I'd been out in Vegas from New York for a few years, and had my own business, retail business online. And unfortunately, that business didn't end up working out too well. I had a lot of tough times with that business. I'd taken my best friend with me, and just honestly, I didn't do what I need to do to get the job done. And unfortunately, that business closed, and pretty much didn't have anything left. So.
Well, first off, let me just say thank you so much for being transparent with, allowing people to understand that, you are a former business owner that failed. And so, talk us through that, because, you can't be the only person watching this video or only person in America who's had a failed business. And so, obviously the failure didn't define you, or you wouldn't be here having a projected $140,000 a year business. So How did you feel through your failure? Talk to someone else who might be watching this who's like, Kriss, I had a business that failed too. Talk about through your feelings of, and I hate to say this, but your feelings of failure.
I think at first it's a level of embarrassment and a little bit of hopelessness. You're so excited telling people about your business, and to see that it didn't work, and you have everybody seeing that your business didn't work. It's a feeling of a little bit of shame, and you don't know where to go next. And especially for me, bringing my best friend into this thing that he had nothing to do with initially, it just made the feeling so much worse. So that hopelessness that I felt was, it was tough. It was definitely tough.
Again, man, I thank you for being vulnerable. That fact that you brought a friend into the industry, into your business, had to move out to Vegas with you, only for the business to go belly up, and the pressure of not only succeeding in a business, but also the pressure of kind of helping someone else succeed, and know that both of those failed is incredible, man. And I appreciate you using the word hopelessness. And because I think anyone who's had a failed business, and included, by the way, is I can relate to just feeling like, oh my gosh, where do I go next? Is my next business going to be a failure? Am I a failure? And, I know that when I had a failed business is, I started identifying with it a little bit. Like, am I good enough to run a business? Am I cut out for this? Like,
absolutely.
So, I don't know if you had some of the same feelings yourself, but I know I have for sure.
Absolutely. I didn't know if I had what it took. I said, maybe I'm not an entrepreneur. Maybe I need to go back to the office work. Maybe I don't have what it takes. So all those doubts come through. And for me, I never, had to go through that. So, it was just tough not knowing how to get out of that, because it's just, you don't know where the next day is going to take you,
Yeah, no, again, man, I appreciate you saying that, because like I said, you're not the only person who've had a failed business. And I'm so thankful, literally, and so proud of you, man, that you picked yourself back up and said, I'm going to start another business. Let's take people through, when me and you first kind of met, and talking about what it took to become a signing agent. So, talk about that, because I think that's just as inspiring.
Well, for me, I think after that first business failed, I started to pick myself back up, because I said I can't just sit here, So I had that inner fire in my belly that I have to keep going. And when I found the loan signing system, I said, looking and I'm a guy that intensively reviews and has to go through and make sure all the I's are dotted. And I said, man, I think this can really do well for me. You know, I think real estate is always something I've been interested in, and the independent and flexibility. And I said, I'm just going to put my all into this one and try to not do the mistakes I made from the last business to make this successful.
So, you know, I remember you calling me and you kind of, let's talk about this kind of like, you know, what it took to get the money together to actually become a signing agent.
Yeah, I had some inventory left over, you know, I was telling you, for me, very symbolic. I had 4 gold chains. I was very proud of them. For me, that was almost what defined me. And I remember going to the pawn shop and having to sell them all just to scrap, to have enough money for bills and this new business. I said, this is all I have. I have to put my all into it, even if it means giving up what I believed was part of me. I think that was a tough part, but I was like, I have to do this. So doing that, and then asking my mom to like get me for a birthday present a printer, you know, the dual tray printer, you know, just putting everything, and then everybody being on board, I think was really what helped motivate me to go.
Man, first off, there's so many amazing things. You know, what I heard too, and I hope everyone gets inspired by is, you know, you didn't let the failure define you, right? You admitted you had feelings of hopelessness, but too many people allow the failure to define who they are. They let the past define who they are instead of them redefining their future. And I think you took redefining almost to a whole new level, man. And we've all been there when we were younger, and we've had these material things that we think we identify with. And the fact of like, you had to sell what you identified with in your 20s as who you were. And you said, you know what? I got to sell all this. I got to literally sell every last thing I have to start this business. I think is incredibly inspiring, man. And thank you to your mom for getting you that dual trade.
I know. Don't let me forget it, you know.
Oh, I love it. I mean, honestly, how proud is your mom? I mean, I didn't know that part of your story. That's why I love these. Your mom got your dual braid printer, and now you're a 6-figure signing agent. Like, mom's got to be excited, right?
She's one of my biggest fans. You know, her and my dad, my 2 biggest fans. So, you know, it's great to have them, you know.
And I think it's another part of success that people don't talk about enough. And that's, you know, the feelings of your family and friends that you've helped, that they've helped you along this way. And you're like, look, like, you've helped me build this, and now I've built it, you know. And I think it's really cool that you can share that with your mom and dad.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, but look, man, like I said, I'm going to get your income journey in a moment. I just want to say thank you for kind of walking people through it, because, you know, you literally had no money. You had to sell it, and you bet on yourself. And that's what I tell you students. There's nobody better to gamble on than you.
Yeah.
And too often, you know, students or people out there who don't gamble on themselves don't live up to their full potential. And you could have easily wilted, folded up, went back to a 9-to-5, but that entrepreneur fire, man, burns in that belly, and you can't teach that. Let's go.
Absolutely.
I'm so proud of you, man. Okay, cool. Well, thank you for telling people through your story, right? I mean, this is literally a story from the ashes, rising out of the ashes, where you had to sell what identified you to now making 6 figures. But let's talk about the journey, because you're not one of the students who made 6 figures in the first 10 months. You're not one of those students who made the $16,000 in their second month. You know, the interview I did last week was with a student who did $16,000 in their second month. Amazing. But your story is just as amazing, if not more, because it's a real story of slow and steady wins the race. So let's take people through your journey. When did you become a loan signing system student?
Started in about December of 2018. You know, that's when I signed up and decided to go.
I love it. And so right now, the time of this video is October 3rd, 2020. So you've been a signing agent for roughly 2 years, a little bit more than 2 years. Yeah. So your first year in the business, this is called that 2019.
Yeah.
All of 2019, how much money did you make?
Made about $35,000.
$35,000 in your first year. First off, I want to talk through that first year with everybody, because I think now, you know, I want to talk to some loan signing system students, right? So $35,000 in a year equals about $3,000 a month. So some students see that as a failure. I'm only making $3,000. I only made $35,000 my first year. What made you not give up? Because if you would have given up after year 1, where would you be?
Right.
The fact is you didn't. So I want to inspire some loan signing system students right now who have the same journey as you. of like, you know what, Kriss, you know what, Kriss, I've only made $3,000 for my first 6 months. I've only made 30 grand my first year. Talk through like what made you stick with it. Talk through why you didn't see $30,000, $35,000 as a failure. I want to get in the mindset of someone who makes 6 figures. So what made you go through and talk about just all that?
I just took my time to study. So I knew, you know, when I was seeing every month, even though, like I said, it wasn't the 6 figures and the big numbers that, you know, we were talking about, I knew every month I was getting better as a signing agent. And I knew if I put a little more effort into the marketing and just continue to grow and educate myself, and seeing everybody on Facebook do it, you know, I was a full believer and I bought in that I could make that 6 figures. You know, it was just, that was the first year of my journey, and 35 was only the start for me to bigger numbers and bigger things, you know?
Yeah, well, there are a couple of things I think that are really inspiring. You know, what I want to talk about, what you just said is, you know, is for people who don't know, we have this amazing Facebook group of networked of 6,000 signing agents who are just doing great. And there's new signing agents and veteran signing agents in there. But you as a new signing agent allowed the success of veteran signing agents to inspire you.
Absolutely.
So, but I think there's something that you should get credit for. You didn't see somebody else's success as your failure. You didn't see someone else making 10 grand in their 3rd month as like, oh, because I didn't make 10 grand in my 3rd month. You didn't see that as a failure, but you saw that as an inspiration of they can be doing $10,000 a month. So can I. So talk about that, how seeing someone else's success didn't get you down, but got you motivated.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I for me, and I think for a lot of a lot of great entrepreneurs, you know, we had that competitive, but it's a healthy competitive. You know, it's not about tearing down somebody that's ahead of you. It's, wow, how can I get to that level? This person is doing amazing. You know, I want to get there too. And I know if I put the work in, I can get there. So seeing the 10, the 15, you know, all the people that were doing it, I said, okay, that's a great goal for me. They could do it. I could do it too. And it just makes you want to work that much harder, you know?
I love it, man. And that's a winning mindset. That is a growth mindset. That is a successful mindset. So I'm really glad you said that, right? It is, if they can do it, I can do it too. And I'm hoping someone sees your video today, man. It's like, look, if Kriss can come from literally selling stuff at a pawn shop to becoming a 6-figure signing agent, so can I. It's all about letting others people's success inspire you. And I think that's a beautiful thing you said, you know, and I think you said something else that I thought I want to talk about too, because I love digging into the mindset of a successful signing agent. Is you sold every month, as long as every month was better than the previous month, that was a win. It was about progression. It wasn't about, I didn't get somewhere. Talk about the progression mindset. I think is very inspiring as well.
You know, for me, you know, and I was talking briefly about the competition. For me, I only compete against myself, right? You know, everybody is a different journey. And for me, I knew that every month was going up. I said, okay, if I can do 5,000 this month, why can't I do 6 next month, or 55 or even 51, you know? Just continuing being an entrepreneur, you know, I knew that just you have to keep going. You know, you can't stay stagnant, obviously you don't want to go down. So my goal every month was, if I had X, I wanted to do X plus 1 or whatever I needed to do to keep it growing. Because for me, that's the only way you're going to continue to grow, is to just continue to challenge yourself and become better, you know?
Well, I think you said something. I mean, that's why I love these interviews, man. I love digging into the mindset of successful signing agent. You're always competing against you.
Yeah.
If you always compete against you, then you always have you're your own measuring stick. It's X plus 1. It's X plus 2. It's not, oh, this person did 10,000. I only did 5,000. It is, I did 4,000 last month. 5,000 is great this month. It's allowing other people to inspire you, but only comparing you to you.
Yeah.
Wow,
absolutely.
That was awesome, man. I'm really glad you said that, because too many of our signing students, you know, like see $3,000 in a month as a failure versus 3,000 is more than 2,500 you made last month. That's the win. You know what I also want to kind of jump into is this idea of, you know, your second year. Let's talk about your second year here.
Okay.
So this year you did 35,000. We're currently basically in your second year, where you did $100,000 in 9 months. Like, when I say that again, like what's coming through your mind when I say that? 9 months, 100 grand.
You know, it's really great, you know, and for me, you know, it's it's exciting, and you see the numbers, and you look back, at your 2019 or whatever was going on 2018, and your world's apart. And it's nice to look back at your old numbers and what was, to remind you where you were and where you may not want to go back to. So that's what I use it for. And so the beginning of the year, I think I really made more of an effort to go from signing service to direct, because the signing service is great, but it limits you in a way, right? You're working and you can only work. So it's really about being efficient. And I think that's really what the direct does. It makes you more efficient loan signing agent, not only, financially, but just learning the inner workings of exactly how the escrow and the title office works. So that was my goal. I said, I want to know as much about this business as possible. And the only way for me to do that is to go direct, Well,
let me jump in if you don't mind. I think a part of your inspiring story is, man, and I want to talk to some loan signing system students here, is, your first year was signing service.
Yeah.
Some students feel like they're failing because they're working for signing services only. It's like, no, like, you're not failing at all. Like, for you, it was really about getting your feet wet, learning, really comprehending, understanding the industry. And if that's what you had to do your first year, then so be it, right? And then the second year, you said, okay, I got a grasp of the industry. I got a grasp of what I'm doing. It's now my moment to go directly to escrow companies and title companies. And so I think it's a really inspiring part of your story, because there's going to be some LSS students who watch this who almost feel like failures that they haven't gone direct yet. Talk to that student right now and inspire them. It's like, look, there's your first year, your signing service experience, which is a small part of your journey. It wasn't your entire journey.
Right. And I think, like you said, every slow is the speed, like you always say. I watch every mentorship, so I know, So I think you have to, when you had that feeling, and for me, when I had that feeling about the signing service, and I felt limited, that was the time to go direct. That's the feeling, not to sit and worry about why they're not paying you X, Y, Z. That's the time to take yourself to the next level, right? That's the time you want to say, okay, I know I'm a great signing agent. I want to be paid, or I want to have that, like that signing agent. I want to go direct. That was the time for me. That was kind of the switch for me early 2020. I knew I was a good signing agent, and I wanted to work and be compensated like one,
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful thing. And I love you went through that is, the moment it clicks that you're worth more, you need to go get more.
Yes.
But what I love about your journey, again, I'm going to keep saying it because I really want to talk to a student who's still going through signing services. It took you your first year to get to that moment. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Like, your first year was signing services. Beautiful. But once you hit that moment of like, I'm now worth more, then you went and got more. But I want to maybe just kind of end with this, that for some of our students who work with signing services, there's nothing wrong with working signing service. I teach students how to go direct, but I also encourage you to just build your business the way you want to build it, because there's no right or wrong way. And I love that a six-figure signing agent took a full year of working with signing services before they said, look, I'm going to go direct. So let's now talk about that direct moment, man. Because, before I jump into it, you had to go and get the direct business. I know a little bit of your journey, so I want to talk about that. But before we talk about the journey, I want to break down some myths and I want to inspire some people. So before you became a signing agent, were you ever in sales?
I was not, no.
Were you ever like a previous real estate agent, a previous loan officer?
No.
And I say that because I think that some of our students feel like, oh, the students getting direct business from escrow and title companies are all former salesmen, former saleswomen. Oh, they must have sold cars, sold cell phones. They must have sold loans. And that's just not true. Like, you're an everyday American who just happened to get into a business and then you learned how to go direct. So with that out of the way, because I want to inspire people, you're not previous experience in the industry, right? But let's talk about the anxiety that we all have before we go into that first moment, and talk about your mindset of how you overcame it. And because I want to inspire another LSS student who's still sitting on the fence, because you're like, look, Kriss, I'm like you, man. I'm at the moment where I feel and deserve more money, but I'm still a little nervous about getting through. So my question to you is, did you have anxiety? Were you nervous before you went direct to an escrow office title office for the first time. Talk about that with another signing agent.
Oh, I absolutely. I was so anxious. You know, you put everything, you know, and you practice in the house and you do everything, but there's nothing like the real situation. So that anxiety, you know, was there, you know, making sure I knew what I was talking about and I sounded knowledgeable about the industry. And, you know, and I say to, you know, because I think when we do a new venture, everybody has that level of anxiety. I think anxiety is always there, but it's about overcoming it. You know, anxiety is always going to be there. It's just how can you overcome it, and knowing that I can do this. You know, I can walk in and talk to these escrow officers and explain myself and show that I'm knowledgeable. So the anxiety is always going to be there, but if you've done the work, you know you can overcome it. You know,
you've done the work, you know you can overcome it. That's a beautiful saying. So let's talk people through the mindset. Okay, so. You know, what really, because I always tell you students and anyone who will listen to me is that it isn't that successful people don't have nerves. It's that successful people don't let the nerves hold them back.
Yeah, exactly.
So what did you do? What was your frame of mind? So I can dig into a six-figure signing agent's mindset. What was your frame of mind of like, I'm not going to let this hold it back. So talk through what we're like, I'm going to do this. I'm nervous. I have anxiety, but I'm going to do this.
Sure. So, you know, for me, you know, I was driving there and I remember driving there but at the end of the day, I said, I know I can't fail. I know the feeling for my other business, how it felt, and I never want to feel that again. So for me, it was the fact that I couldn't fail. Whatever fear and anxiety I had didn't feel as bad as when I failed with the first business. So I said, nothing will make me feel worse than that. So I can overcome this. And I think ultimately that's what got me more confident walking in and speaking to the officers, you know?
Oh my gosh, that was deep and awesome. So, wow, it was beautiful. I almost want to start crying. That was so good. Like, you know, nothing could make you feel worse than you did the day your business failed, or, you know, letting down your friends or your family from the previous business. So you said, how bad could this really be? You drew upon personal experience to get yourself over the hump of like, look, I know what it feels like to fail, and I'm not going to feel like that again. If I need to talk to 27 escrow officers, darn it, I'm going to do it because I'm not going to allow myself to be in the position I was a year ago. And that's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, you know, you draw upon the past, you know, to help you with the future. You know, you look back and I see where maybe I didn't talk to somebody in my old business that could have helped. Now I have to talk to everybody. I have to put 110% into this, you know, be all in.
Dude, another great comment. You know, like you weren't going to let, if there was any chance of failure from the previous business because of effort, you weren't going to allow the lack of effort to determine if this business was going to fail, the loan signing agent business. And I love that. I love that man, that was so good. You know, if effort was any part of the reason your previous business failed, effort was not going to be part of the reason this business failed. And
correct.
That is beautiful, man. That is beautiful. And like you said, you passed, I don't know, maybe I'm slaughtering your quote here, but you draw upon the past for your future. And I think that's beautiful. You're right. like, man, I'm so glad we like this conversation. So awesome. I hope people are getting inspired. I mean, look, you had to sell everything you owned to get this off the ground. And you made $100,000 in the first 9 months of this year. Like that blows my mind. I tell all you students, it took me 5 years to break six figures. You did this in year number 2, man. Like that is amazing. And I keep going back to slow as a speed. If you would have told yourself 2 years ago in your second year, you're making $100,000, I think you would have signed up for that, right?
Yeah.
So the point I'm trying to make is like, I actually think 2 years getting six figures is extremely fast. But, you know, some of our students, like, you know, are getting success crazy in the first couple months. And again, you allowed that to inspire you, not show that as a failure. So, right. So now let's talk about your current day. So, and I want to inspire some other people. We're 9 months. We just completed our 9th month. This is going in Q4 of 2020. So you said how much are you direct? How much are you signing service?
I would say I'm 80 to 90% direct, and then the remaining of the signing service. I think there's still always good, to have as, kind of to fill you in, I don't ever want to think I'm too big for the signing service. That's when you start slipping,
I love it. And that's why I was hoping I didn't know how you were going to answer that or go with that comment, but you're right. And again, I think a good signing agent's always diversified. I think there's a myth that I only want you guys going direct. I want you to only build a business. Whatever that business looks like to you is a beautiful business. There's not a wrong or right way of building a business. So I want to get some of our students inspired that, look, you still have some signing service clients. I'm guessing they're probably your best ones, your most consistent ones. And then 90% of your business, 80% of your business is direct. So, we're talking to a six-figure signing agent who is partially signing service, partially direct business. And you can make six figures no matter how you cut it in this industry.
Right. And can I say, Mark, that I didn't reflect on this much earlier, but I just wanted to say real quick that, and I know you've taught this and you express this throughout, gratitude. I think that's so important. I send every month, I send thank you lunches to my escrows, even to signing services that I haven't used as much, just because without them, I wouldn't be here. So it's always just appreciation for them giving me the opportunity to prove that I could do the signing. So I think that's so important. And I love that you preach that,
No, and I love that resonated with you. I think the fact that, some of our students take their clients for granted, and maybe that's why they haven't scaled, right? Yeah. I mean, we're looking at someone who's scaled in the second year to six figures, and you're telling me and everybody that, gratitude is a huge part of your overall business strategy and business marketing and just being a good human being. To me, it's beyond strategy and marketing. It's just what you should do. Like, someone's helping your family, the least you can do is say thank you, right? And show that appreciation, man. So thank you so much for being coachable. The most successful people are. I love that you learn something, you implement it. You learn something, you implement it. So speaking of that, let's jump into the third question I ask all you successful signing agents. That is, what is one specific thing that you would tell another signing agent to help grow their business?
Never stop learning. I think to this day, I still take a look at documents and see if there's something. There's always something new that they like to throw in. Make sure you just always keep educating yourself, keep growing, because you never want to become stagnant or stale. You always want to learn the new things and just you can always become better. Nobody's the perfect signing agent, but we can strive to get there by continuing to learn.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great piece of advice, and it's a macro piece of advice, right? It's listening to podcasts and reading books and reading mortgage updates and reading the real estate industry trends. I mean, that's what I teach you guys, right? Education equals profits. And you said something very slyly earlier that I think I want to bring to the forefront to inspire some loan signing system students here, is that you said you watch every single one of my mentorships.
Everyone. I've seen everyone. And
I love it, man. And you're a six-figure signing agent, still not too big to learn. And I want to commend you on that. I can't take credit for just your frame of mind and your mindset and your growth mindset more specifically, man. And so I hope some other signing agents out there making $6,000 a month, because we have some students out there making $4,000 or $5,000 a month who haven't watched a mentorship video in 3 months. And I'm like, why haven't you watched a mentorship video in 3 months? Everything I'm trying to teach you is how I built my 7-figure business. Let me show you the way. And the fact that you still make it a priority to listen to every single one of my mentors. I love when you emailed me yesterday or you chatted with me and you're like, man, I loved your mentorship video. Like, I love that you still watch them and you still prioritize them. And I hope other LSS students who are making $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 don't ever become too busy to learn more.
Right. They're always there for you. Like you said, you save them. They're always there. So if I can't get it live, I put it on recorded while I'm, putting in my thing for the night. So that's honestly, I would say the mentorship is probably really what helped me go from that growth in that second year. That's when really it started to learn about the business of being a loan signing agent versus just being a loan signing agent. There is a difference. So.
Mind blown. The business of being a loan signing agent versus just being a loan signing agent. And I love that you picked up on that's what I teach. And I'm talking right now to an LSS student who is watching every third mentorship video. It's like, you're hearing what a 6-figure signing agent does. And by the way, you probably see Robin Schmidt comment on those mentorship videos, and you see Lord Tasadri. Six-figure signing agents also, the common thread between all you big earners is you devour knowledge. And the most successful people always want to learn. And like you said, you don't ever get to the point where you think you're too good is when everything else kind of falls away. And I hope we inspired some LSS students and maybe even some non-LSS students that knowledge is profits, man. I can't say that enough.
I hope so, man. I hope so. I just wanted to share my story and hope that even if it's just one person sees this and inspired, that I did my job, you know? So.
Yeah, I love it. I thank you so much. This is Saturday, taking time out of your weekend with your friends and family to help inspire some people, man. So I'm super appreciative. I'm sure people watching this are too. I can't talk enough about your story. Like, you literally had to pawn everything you owned. And when I say everything, I mean something that represented everything to you.
Change, yeah.
And to become a six-figure signing agent in 9 months, dude. Like, the year's not even over and you made 6 figures. Let me blow your mind. I don't know if you know this statistic. You, my friend, are in the top 10% of income earners in America.
It's crazy that when you put it in that context, you know, I never really thought about it like that. So it's pretty crazy, you know.
Soak that in for a moment. You deserve the moment, man. Congratulations. Literally, you can Google that 8 to 10% of Americans make 6 figures. That is it. You're in very rare air. I can't take credit for your effort. I can't take credit for your tenacity. I can't take credit that you didn't see $3,000 in a month as a failure. You deserve this success. It is all you, man. Let's go.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Okay, cool. So let's go to the last part of this conversation. And this has been so eye-opening. You know, there's always a moment that a new signing agent, prospective signing agent, someone thinking about coming into the business has about this fear or nervousness. Well, I can't do this, so I'm not going to be a signing agent. What was that for you, looking back at your journey of like, wow, I don't know if I can do X, but now looking back, you're like, why was I even tripping on that anyways?
I think more specifically making errors on documents for me, you know, and every new signing agent I talk to, I think that's one of the biggest worries. What if I mess up? If I mess up, it's okay. We all gonna mess up. I messed up before, you know. I'm sure as I go on, I might make a slip again, you know. But it just take accountability and do your best to fix the error. And just move on. Don't dwell on it. You know, it's just like anything else, like a sport. You miss a shot, take the next one. You don't worry about the shot you missed. You just do your best to correct it, I think.
No, I love it. And I almost heard something a little bit more vulnerable than just that. If you don't mind me diving into it, is,
sure.
You know, you were never a signing agent. You were never in real estate. You were never in mortgages. And you're looking into a business that is kind of foreign, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
And you're thinking to yourself, well, can I actually do this? Like, can I actually not miss a signature on 150 pages of loan documents I've never seen before in my life? Am I kind of close to that?
You're exactly right. You know, studying them, I just was like, well, what if they put an initial in the right corner that I don't see? And I don't want to delay funding by missing that. And should I check? How many times should I check? So many questions just go in your head. And, you know, and obviously that anxiety comes back. But like I said, it's just like anything else. You just do your best. And if you know you put in your best, don't dwell on it, you know. Just keep going.
I love it. I mean, so I love it. If you know you've done your best, just keep going. I love it. You're right. If you know you're doing the best you can't dwell on anything. That's all you're asking from yourself, right? You're chasing progress, never perfection.
Right.
And so, you know, what advice would you give somebody, you know, who was watching this video right now saying, all right, Kriss, I hear you. Your story's crazy, inspiring, but dang it, I've never been a signing agent before. I've never been a realtor. I've never been a mortgage officer. I just don't know if I can do it. What would you say?
I would just say, listen, I had a blank slate just like you. I knew nothing about real estate, never took a real estate class or anything like that. I knew nothing. I was a blank slate, and I just gave my all. And I would just tell them, if you can give your all and you are willing to put in the work, the success will come, you know. It will come. Just don't be afraid to take the journey, you know, to become a great loan signing agent, and you will become a loan signing agent. It's just about being able to be brave enough to take that journey.
I love it, man. This has been an amazing interview again. Thank you so much. You know, you've been so inspiring. Let me just kind of ask you, are there any inspiring words you just want to leave anybody watching this video today about getting more, doing more, being a signing agent? You've dropped so much fire. I want to give you the platform of just saying something that may give someone else a little encouragement to get where you are. Someone who had to literally sell everything, for somebody who felt like a failure, who felt hopeless, to making 6 figures in the first 9 months of 2020. What do you want to say?
I would say always have your goals, you know. I think it's very important to set your goals and be proud when you accomplish them, you know. Whatever that is for you, you know, however way, I think you should celebrate. And then work on the next goal. Always continue to try to better yourself and make more goals. I think for me, that's what's worked best, you know, always appreciating the moment and then moving to the next goal, you know, trying to be better every month than I was the previous.
Love it. Okay, that's going to end it with this, man. I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to inspire some signing agents. I'm looking forward to not only seeing $140,000 a year out of you, man, but I'm saying you have to sustain this over the next years and years, because you have found your niche, you have found your business, and I can't be more proud of you, man.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate just everything you've been able to teach me. I'm so appreciative, and I look forward to being able to help newer students to get better than me. You know, I don't want them to be better than me. So I just appreciate the platform and everything you've done for me and all the students, you know.
You're welcome, man. All right, man. I'll see you next time, brother. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.